Because you can leave them all the material stuff in the world. But I've seen people in the worst condition. They had fell by the wayside, fell far away from what they were raised on. But they still knew those were their standards. I was raised like this. They still had the standards in them. They still, even if they strayed away, the example of their parents was the foundation of their reality. So your example is more important than the materialism that you pass on to them.
That brings you to mind of what person?
Yeah.
Benny.
Yeah.
Excuse me, absolutely. Down, just totally strung out. You know what I mean? But he wouldn't steal a nickel from him. You know what I mean? Even if it was to support his habit, to get something to eat, and keep it with him.
I see drug dealers that come to me and they say, people on drugs, and they come to me and say, well, you were the Lion of Judah. They're conscious. But they learned that and got that conscious behavior. It was passed on to them. Now they might be far away from, but they're still conscious. And that is their foundation of their integrity. So that's more important. I'm not saying because you're going to be this great righteous person that your children are going to follow and listen to everything you say, and you're going to protect your children from the mayhem that exists in the world. But I'm telling you, you will set up a standard for them to live by. And the Marleys are the way they are because of Bob Marley. And I keep saying that. The Marleys didn't get too far away from Bob. They didn't. They did not get too far. And in reality, his example raised them more than he did because he was barely even there. So when we go save the youth and say we're going to save the children and think we're going to escape our responsibility of being the men that this planet has been waiting on, you got another thing coming. Some people think they're going to escape the responsibility of what we have to do. Harriet Tubman wasn't saying, well, we got to change the youth. She freed people under the Underground Railroad. Nat Turner wasn't trying to talk about the children are going to be our future. He went and scared them crackers to make them rethink the reality of slavery. They was afraid that the black people was going to start taking over, so they had to lighten up and change their paradigm. Because Nat Turner would have been an example. Literally. So we can't just go and say, oh, it's the children, the youth is going to change it. No. The youth are using your example. And if you are not doing nothing, 9 times out of 10, the youth are not going to do much more. You can teach them, and I'm going to instill all the ideas in you, and I'm going to teach you the right knowledge and the real history. But if you're not doing nothing, you are no role model with no example for them to look up to. They'd rather look up to Jay-Z. Look up to somebody who's really doing something, who's not talking. He's not doing something for the community that I know of, but he's doing something. They can say this man doing something. Our people talking about revolution, nation building, they're not doing nothing. They'd rather look up to somebody doing something, even if it's wrong, because that person's doing something, then they would look up somebody who's talking right than doing absolutely nothing. Just the way the youth look at it. They look at it by what you do. So thinking that we're going to somehow create these powerful youth programs and youth projects, and that we're going to have to be something other than we are. You feel what I'm making? And that we are somehow going to escape maximizing our potential as warriors. That we're going to escape maximizing our potential as warriors by saving the children. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. The Prophet Muhammad said, peace and blessings be upon him, he who is afraid to leave his wife and children to fight in a time of war is a coward and will never enter into paradise. That's deep. Because it's cowardice. It is a form of cowardice to say, well, it's the children, I'm going to have behind the children, they are our future. But you are in a position with the God-given energy and life force to cut the weeds out to make a better path for them to walk down. And you're saying, no, they're going to chop the weeds. That's madness. And a lot of our people with these community organizations are doing that. They're saying, oh, well, we can be cowards, and it's the children are somehow going to wake up somehow and not take the drug image and the pimp image, you feel what I'm making, and the corporate slave image. They're not going to take that image, and somehow they're going to just become the revolutionaries that we feared to be, that our parents said we were going to be. You feel me? And the same cycle keep continuing. They're going to say it's the children. Got people walking around 17 years old talking about they're going to save the children. Damn it, you steal the children. You understand the point I'm making? Literally. You are the child. You was the chosen child, or the chosen one, or the chosen people to make a change. And if it's not you, then who? And if it's not now, then when? And if it's not here, then where? So that's another religiosity. That one of these children going to be the Messiah. And that some person somewhere is going to watch some information, and one day and somehow they're going to wake up, and it's going to be them that saves all of us. That's moving the ball out your court. As soon as the ball gets out your court, you have lost the game. Feel what I'm making? Literally. You will not fire the winning shot if you push the ball out your court. So we got the winning shot. We are the Michael Jordans of this nation building, of this revolution. You feel what I'm making? The game is in our hands. We're going to determine whether we win the championship over this European in our communities. And our black people don't have that attitude. They rather look back into the past. And people come and say, with leadership today, they'll resurrect dead leaders and argue the philosophy of dead people who can't do anything right now over people who are living and doing the work. Ain't that deep? They will do that versus stepping up themselves and helping the people who are doing the work do more work. They'll argue the philosophies of dead people against living people that are doing the actual work. That's another scapegoat. You can't say you agree with Malcolm over Farrakhan. And Malcolm X is not here and Farrakhan is. You can say you disagree with Farrakhan and do something different that helps, you feel the point I'm making, other than Farrakhan. But you can't be a slave under white supremacy talking about you agree with Malcolm over Farrakhan. You working every day in the system. Police officer sit down and argue with you talking about I agree with Malcolm over Farrakhan. A person literally operates the gas chamber as a job. And he say I agree with Farrakhan over Malcolm. But his job is to pull the switch on all the political prisoners. How could you say you agree with either of them? If your actions, your deed, and your life does not correct the things that they did wrong or do not elevate or add on to what they actually did. I'll go again and say you must be qualified to judge leadership. Any criticism that I make on any leader or any organization is substantiated by my desire to do the work and to elevate the work that has already been done. It's not a personal judgment or condemnation on another individual. It's based upon work. It's a critical question of analysis based upon someone who's building a strategy to get it right. Not somebody who supports the white supremacist institutions every day of the week, but speak bad about every black institution. Every black institution is wrong. Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with your boss. There's nothing wrong with the corporation that you work for. But there's something wrong with every black institution. Their rules was not right. I don't like the rules of this organization. I don't want to go along with these rules. But your boss's rules are fine. Wearing a little silly uniform is okay. Having to be to work at this particular time and let them set some people, they set their schedule week by week. That's really bad. At least with a black organization, they're going to tell you what you're going to be doing. And you know the order of the institution, but with the way the European play you, he set your schedule for you. He just decide this week, he flip a coin and decide how many hours he going to work you. When you need money, he don't give you the hours. And when you don't need the money, he work you to death. So my point is, you can't go and be mad at this black institution is right, not right. They're not doing enough, but you have no problem with the white boys' institutions. They're fine. Work on a job for 30 years, knowing the boss is racist. 30 years on a job. Little institution, black person might say something you don't agree with. Well, color you don't like. I knew that nigga wasn't real. See the point I'm making? One thing you don't disagree with, Willie Lynch cooking. I knew niggas wasn't shit. Let's go back to work. You feel what I'm making?
Yeah.
Go deal with Whitey. Get this promotion. Go from a security guard working in the prison to the warden. What an extreme, contrast. If you should go from disagreeing with a black person to being a better black person than the ones you disagree with. You should be a better revolutionary. If you disagree with a revolutionary thinker, right? If you disagree with a nationalist, you should be a better nationalist. You don't disagree with a nationalist and be a better white supremacist. That's showing you that your disagreement with the nationalist was based on white supremacy. I didn't just disagree with Farrakhan or disagree with Noble Drew Ali on some things to go and be a better white supremacist and go join the Scottish Rite or the Irish Rite or the Ku Kluxish Rite. I didn't go against Noble Drew Ali to get under Albert Pike. I disagree with those leadership structures and those institutions so that I can exemplify doing something that I feel would be better. And everybody is not privy to those type of judgments against those institutions because they're not willing to outwork those people. I said, even if some of these leaders is a CIA agent, an FBI agent, they doing more work. They are doing more work for black people than the ones who worried about if they CIA agents. As an agent against black people, they doing more work for black people than black people who are scared of agents and scared of everybody trying to figure out, is this person an agent? The agent is doing more. The agent is putting more finance behind black organizations. The agent is putting more finance, putting more propaganda, and to show that he's a real member of the organization, he's even doing more revolutionary activities. To prove that he's a real part, he's more revolutionary than the actual members in the damn group. Because the Europeans, the FBI agents, and the CIA's fear of organizations is fantasies. Their fear of us is a fantasy. So they go and be in these organizations and fund them and make them more revolutionary than they probably would have ever been in the first place. You see what I'm making? But they're so scared of them. They say, well, why don't I infiltrate it and become a real follower? What type of thinking is that, though? They're showing you that they're stupid. Why don't I infiltrate the organization and be a real follower so I can prove that I'm really a part of it and do something really revolutionary that all those people that are a part of it are afraid to do, so that I can bring down an organization that didn't really have the potential to do anything, till I put my FBI money behind it and became a real follower. This is the thinking strategy that they have. To show that they're real, they elevate the organizations. That's schizophrenic. I want to show that and then they do it to have a job. If I don't make you a big bully, a big enemy, then I don't have nobody to bring down. So the CIA, I gotta put my money behind you and set you up. You understand what I'm making? Give you guns and give you money to buy guns. You see the point I'm making? Entrapment, so that I can make you big enough to get enough credit for bringing you down. Because most of these institutions are scared of the European anyway, which is why, even with the case with Chief Malik or Jeff Ford, it was the FBI agents that tried to sell him the rocket launcher. Well, what was black people ever going to get a rocket launcher for? So they had to go and create the whole scenario, not just to make this organization look big and bad, but to make themselves look good for bringing down the big bad organization that they created.
In a sense, wasn't that even like almost entrapment?
It was entrapment.
I never understood that.
They set them up. And they're not just doing entrapment to bring down black organizations. They are an independent institution that must make themselves look good to the overall American people. So they got to bring down some bullies. Or otherwise, the CIA is going to go out of business. What we need you for? There are no criminals. There's nobody creating no terrorist acts. So they got to go and make terrorists too. That's a part of the Central Intelligence Aid. They got to be intelligent enough to create terrorists to stay in business. That's why you say, well,